work it out for you. But it's okay. Good luck with your box.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know, it's Beach, your girl KylerB coming at you with a new video. Today we're going to be talking about Love Island Games Season 2, Episode 10, and let's get into the video. So this episode is basically going to be summarized into 3 different topics. So first I'm going to talk about this whole Kendall, Garby, Lucinda situation with the spitting in the bowl during the challenge. First things first, Lucinda needs to get through her head that this is not just regular Love Island. This is Love Island Games, for one. So I feel like she's not realizing that this is a game aspect, that we're literally competing for $250,000. And I feel like she missed that aspect of it, that, you know, when somebody's going against her in a challenge, she's upset. Now, granted, if they had an alliance going in, or they were supposed to know, like, oh, not to touch each other during the challenge, then sure, whatever. But granted, you know, it is what it is. It is a challenge, you know. The couple just did not want them to lose. So she's talking to Kendall. Kendall and Lucinda are having a chat, and basically she's telling Kendall, like, oh, Garby doesn't like her. She has it out for her. It was basically like malicious. Like, she has to watch out for Garby. Like, you know, that's like things to look out for. You have Kendall asking her if, like, oh, is Garby good for him? Like, I guess Lucinda and Kendall, they like hanged out. Like, I mean, I guess he has connections with a lot of the, you know, contestants. Like, he knows a lot of the UK Islanders and whatever. Because I didn't really know that was a thing, that they knew each other outside of here and that they were friends in some type of way or shape or fashion. So therefore, you know, he's like, oh, Garby's one of his best friends in this game, and it's like, oh, for Garby to go after, you know, Lucinda and Isaiah's bowl is just kind of like, you know, messing with their friendships and Like, he just hopes the person that he's with is basically, you know, still good with his friends and Like, he just wants to see that. So it's kind of like, oh, that can be a beige flag turning red flags type of situation. You know, we have Garby telling Andreina, like, you know, I, you know, owned up to it. Like, yeah, I did went to their bowl a lot, like like, it wasn't any malicious intent. Like, she did really realize, like, okay, after the fact, that yeah, she did spit in their bowl a lot, and she said it during the challenge, she said it to them, she said it to Andreina, like, she basically said the same thing she's been saying. She didn't have any strategy, she just kept, you know, spitting in her thing, and that's just how it was. That's how the cookie crumbles. Now, you know, it is what it is. Granted, she should probably try a little harder to not spit in Isaiah and, you know, Lucinda's bowl, but it is what it is. Like, it shouldn't really be taken personally on her character, because I feel like that's what Lucinda was trying to do, basically say, oh, how she acted in the challenge is like a testament to Garby's character as a friend and something like that, and like, she's basically giving snake. So with that being said, Garby and Kendall have a chat. He pulls her up to the terrace. They're chatting. He basically asks her a question like, oh, like, you know, did he spit in Lucinda's bowl because of, like, how their connection is as friends? So Garby's like, do you think I'm jealous? Like, you know, it was kind of like, why are you asking that? Like, why would you insinuate that, you know, she's jealous of you and Lucinda or anything like that? Why would you say that?
I just maybe need to talk to someone else, because I'm gonna go out and feeling emotional right now. I just want
So, like, the conversation kind of felt like he was trying to, like, you know, interrogate her, just like question her again if she did it with malicious intent, and she said no. So she kind of, like, you know, felt a bit awkward in the conversation. She left, got up and left, and that was it. So he was just like, he doesn't really like how, you know, people leave, get up and leave at the conversation, like they left in a wonky area, and it is what it is. Later on that night, she does pull Lucinda for a chat to basically, like, clear it up with Lucinda, basically say, like, hey, it was nothing personal against you, blah, 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 like, you know, are we cool? And Lucinda was just like, you know, yeah, but she said, like, in a confession that it wasn't, you know, she can forgive, but she cannot forget. And basically, moving forward into this game, she's going to start thinking strategically, which she should have been doing since day one. Like, I don't know why it took Garby spitting in your bowl for you to stay like, oh, I gotta start playing the game. Like, this, everybody's competing, everybody's going here for to get the win. Anyways, how Kendall and Garby left it, it was just kind of like the bump in the road, and like Garby just felt uneasy because she's just like, yeah, I probably don't want to be with him anymore. Like, she just felt like how he handled the situation. It's like, you're supposed to be like comforting your partner, not comforting your alliance member, your friend. Like, you're supposed to be looking out for the person that you're coupled up with, because she already owned up to it from jump. Like, it's not like, oh, she like lied about it or something like that. Like, oh yeah, I really did go after them. She's told you like multiple times, like, yeah, she did realize, yeah, she did target them, da 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 da. And you're still questioning her about it after the fact, even though she kind of feels bad about it. So she's like, you know, she just wanted somebody to like defend her, like, or not pile on to the whole situation. And I think Kendall did not peep the situation that she was trying to say. So moving on, like, they went to sleep basically kind of, well, she just wasn't feeling Kendall that night, so she was just kind of over the situation. Obviously it was very noticeable because they're always very like cuddled up and whatnot and always having chats, but she was like, I'm not gonna talk to him first. Like, what do I look like? And I'm like, yes, stand on business, Garby. Like, you know what she looked like talking to a man first, especially after, you know, she, you know, make her breakfast the next morning, and she was kind of like over Kendall. Like, she literally asked the girls, like, who wants this breakfast? Like, that's how annoyed she was with him.
Thank you.
Taking the toes.
It's good.
Boy's gonna become top chef.
His next show. No, seriously. Who wants it? Oh.
He didn't even eat his breakfast that he made. He was just like, yeah, who wants this? Like, she wasn't gonna eat it at all. So later on, they did have a conversation. He pulls her up again, and, you know, he basically says, like, you know, apologize for how things are going, because obviously he knows, like, she really wasn't going to pull him for a child. She had a child with Justine. She was telling Justine, like, yeah, I'm not talking to him first. She does really do like him, which is, like, you know, feelings are starting to show for him and everything, but, like, the way he acted is crazy. You know, not crazy, but, like, you know, wild that you kind of, like, did that. So it's kind of like, what's going on here? So Justine talking about her and Tyrique's situation, and we'll get to that later. Telling Isaiah, like, you know, yeah, she got up and like walked away from the conversation. Basically said how the resolution of that conversation was giving like B-, C+, da 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 da. Like, basically, you know, he's trying to make sure his alliance or friend with, you know, Isaiah is still going good, but like he basically telling the guys about how him and Garby is doing. You know, Tyrique basically said last night that he's gonna basically fake, you know, pretend that he likes Justine, and then at the first chance he getting up and kicking her to the curb. So then the next day he basically warming up and like saying like, oh, we got through a bump, but I'm still gonna, like, you know, go at your pace and whatever. So Justine basically clocked like, oh, you're not playing me, da da da. So basically, you know, she's trying to peep. She's obviously has a walled up, a guard up. Like, she's not like falling all head over heels for Tyrique, but like obviously she likes where things are going, or like he makes her laugh and da da da. But, you know, he's trying to like pull game on her, and I feel like she knows like how people run game, because she's been on, this is her third time being on this Love Island show, so she knows how people run game on her. So, you know, obviously she's having fun with him, but obviously she does have a guard up, especially so when you're playing a game show. So they have kisses here and there. There's eyes in the back of our heads. But, you know, it's definitely, you know, going at a caution base, because he did not make her any breakfast. It's just basically they're talking, they're cool, but he didn't make her breakfast. So then Johnny, he's bringing up his dilemma with Andreina. He basically said to the guys like how, you know, being with Andreina is kind of draining, because it's like he's pulling all the weight, all the effort. I did agree with him that like most of the conversations that he had with Andreina was basically, you know, pep talks about the challenges, whatever. Like, it wasn't like, you know, she had confidence in herself in terms of like winning these challenges. Like you always have to like pep talk. She even said that, you know, she will take his lead, da da da. Even in this episode, she's telling Justine how like, oh, you know, Johnny comes first, and like whatever Johnny says, I'm gonna do. And you know, Justine had to tell her like, hey, this is your game too. Like she basically flat out told Justine that I'm gonna follow what you know Johnny says in this game. So she really has no game motive here, no like competitive thing, and it's just like she's really just here for the love here. And it's kind of like, you know, Johnny really wants someone who can even like at least match him competitively. And it's like, yeah, she has a good body, da da da, you know. And he's over here talking with his ego, talking about, oh, the prerequisite for talking to him is looking good, but that's not enough. And I guess Tyrique is also agreeing with him because he's talking to Tyrique, he's talking to the guys. He's basically saying like, you know, Tyrique tried with her, and I guess he realized, yeah, she's good looking, but she doesn't have no depth to her. And it's just like, where's the depth? Like, it's getting boring. And granted, in the previous season of Love Island, you know, we had Brian who said this, that they didn't have any like proper conversations at the very surface level. They were like, oh, every minute just kiss, 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 da da da, but no like real getting to know one another. So that's what's happening. I guess he never really voiced it early on, but they're like, yeah, you need to really talk to her for real, because he's like, he really likes her. They're always kissing, but like we can have real talks. So later on in that episode, he does pull her for chat, and like he said like, oh, do you see how this like relationship is going? And he actually does tell her that. So she tells him like this is like a defense mechanism. Like she's very like that, has a wall up, a guard up, because she doesn't really want to open up, you know, to people for them to hurt her. So she said like she does really like Johnny, and with that being said, she will try to work on her being open up to him and like speaking to him, da da da. So with that being said, like she is willing to work on speaking to Johnny in a like a more depth. But he was already talking about it with the guys for like maybe 2-3 days now, how it's like, yeah, it's kind of lacking, it's draining, like he's putting all the effort, like he's basically feeling Superman when he's with Andreina, and just kind of like he's not getting that like, okay, well he can lean on her to win a challenge, or he can lean on her to like help win this game, because granted, he likes Andreina, but he's also here for $250,000. So it's kind of like, yeah, like we need that. So with that being said, you know, there is that with all the couples. So we finally find out the results of the whole spin in the bucket challenge. So we find out that Sydney and Toby, they won the challenge. They became power couple, so they're safe. And Johnny and Andreina, they were the second couple to be safe. So they're 2 couples. So then 5 couples are all vulnerable. So like 2 boxes are in the villa, and they basically contain the 2 bombshells, which are Casey and Gabby from Love Island All-Stars, who they won this year. Love Island All-Stars, mind you, they're back again to be on Love Island again. They're in these boxes, but Islanders don't know who's in the boxes, what's in the boxes, what's going on. Ariana comes in, basically says like, hey, you either have a choice to either return to sender or, you know, open the package. If you open the package, if you're in a couple, you basically like kind of forfeit your couple and basically risk a chance of being coupled up with whoever's in the box. And, you know, she doesn't really tell them that, you know, if the person that they coupled up with in the box makes them, you know, if you're vulnerable, makes them safe. So she basically gives this option to even the safe people, the people who are in the power couple are safe, and the people who, Johnny and Andreina, who's also safe. So all the vulnerable people had the option to either open the package or return to sender. Andreina went first, and they both decided to return to sender, basically stay in a couple, and basically let America decide if they want to keep them or not. Next was Isaiah and Lucinda, and they decided to keep their couple, return to sender. Then after that was Kendall and Garby. Garby decided to stick it out with Kendall, and you know, even though they had a bump in the road, like he's the only one that's like basically she's willing to like get to know and work with in this game show. Which I mean, you know, especially it's been like what, a week and a half with the same couple from day one. I mean, and they actually do have like deep chats, so I mean, I'm not gonna like hold her against that for it. But then Kendall, he tried to play and like say like, oh, we were gonna open a package, but he basically said like, yeah, even though they had a bump in the road, he had so much fun being with Gabby, so he's gonna like be with Gabby. So they are still a couple. So next we have Nicola and Marvin. Marvin and Nicola both decided to basically open a package. So Nicola is the only girl standing to be, whoever is in the box to be coupled up with, and Marvin as well. So then next we have Tyrique and Justine. Tyrique decides to basically, do one back to Justine and decides to open a package, while Justine decides, well, you know what, since they're good, they've been kissing, talking, everything, she decided to like return to Southern, still stick with Tyrique. But Tyrique is like, after you did me dirty yesterday, like literally yesterday, they coupled up, he got done dirty or he got humbled, whatever. They had to give him this choice, which therefore he basically flipped the script. So he was trying to do the girl dirty. So like he listened to all this and he's like, yeah, we know you were trying to do her dirty from jump. But anyways, so Justine's like noted, like whatever. So now tell me why Johnny and Andreina were safe. They were safe from the vote, safe. And this man decides to open the package, basically air out that like being with Andreina was, draining, like it might be a shock to all of you, but like he's been telling the guys all this, which is true. And like Andreina's like, I was willing, like she heard this, like she already knows that this is her her problem, so she's kind of willing to work on it for him because she really loves like him. But he decided to up and leave the couple, even though they're safe. Mind you, they're safe. They're safe from the vote, and couple up with whoever's in the box, which we know is Gabby.
Package.
Oh. What?
I know it comes as a shock to y'all, but trust me, this is not
A shock to you.
I've had doubts about our connection, and I'm in here just like we all are to try and get to the end and win.
So now Andreina is vulnerable because she's no longer in a couple with Johnny, because he already risked being in a couple with her to be, with Gabby. So we have all this. So they find out who's in the box was Casey and Gabby. And basically, because nobody else besides Nicola wanted to couple up with, Casey, they're a couple, and Nicola is now safe instead of being vulnerable. And then Gabby, who is like very much into fitness and everything, she decides to couple up out of the three guys, Johnny. So Marvin and, Tyrique are back up to the vulnerable side. But then here's the catcher. Sydney and Toby are the power couple. They have a chance to save one person from the vulnerable side, guy and girl. Sydney, Toby decides to save Lucinda. So obviously the UK connection, we both have, mind you, there's two UKers, which is Gabby and Casey. And they know basically all the UKers plus Kendall. And then we have the alliances between the beige brigade. So then, since Toby saved Lucinda, Sydney was like, to make our alliance stronger, she decides to save Tyrique. So Sydney saves Tyrique, Toby saves Lucinda. The beige brigade is intact because now Gabby's coupled up with Johnny's into fitness, she's into fitness. So all the beige brigade contestants are safe. They're safe from the vote. They're safe. So that leaves Andreina, who used to be safe with Johnny, now vulnerable, and everybody else who was vulnerable is still vulnerable. So we have the vote of 4 guys, 4 girls. The 4 girls who are vulnerable are Garvey, Justine, Andreina, and Andrea, and Marvin, Isaiah, Kendall, and Josh, who are vulnerable for the guys. So that means it's going to be a duel between the bottom 2. It's going to be maybe a gift situation. But here, I'm voting for Garvey. Andreina got done dirty. I mean, granted, because she was really on Johnny, really relying on Johnny. Granted, she literally told Justine this was her gameplay, like whatever Johnny says she's gonna do. And he basically played in her face, and somebody came in, he basically took that, he didn't even know who was in the box. He basically took that risk and was like, yeah, I'm leaving you. And that's crazy work. So I mean, you can only feel bad for her, but it's just like, granted, her chances of winning this show is very slim. So I would take my chances on Garby and maybe Justine to be, winners. I mean, granted, we know how Andrea gets down, but I'll take my chances on that. Now, Kendall, the people who might be able to beat Johnny is Josh, to be honest, and maybe Marvin, but we haven't seen him really compete physically, so we'll have to see that. Isaiah and Kendall, I don't know. So with that being said, that was the episode. Kind of wild that, Kendall tried to play in Garby's face, but to a medium degree, because Tyrique really played in Justine's face and Johnny really played in Andreina's face. So it's quite sad that these three, they're like all vulnerable now, while the beige brigade is still out here living like they get to see another day. Like crazy work. But this was episode 10 of Love Island Games season 2. And if you guys like the video, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe. And thank you guys for watching this video. Peace.